You can. What up, guys? Live Q&A 118 2017. Let me get this situated. Sorry for the late start. Was on a couple calls. All right, nice. Hope everyone is doing amazing. So we got a lot of calls today. We had a couple weeks in between live Q&As. So we're gonna jump on here, do my best to rock it with you guys. And as you guys join live, you can ask your questions, and I will answer those. What's up, Jamie? How you doing? And we'll answer those as we go. So yeah, as you guys have questions, just type them into the comment section there. And what we'll do is I'll work through the ones that you guys already posted on the private Biohacking Secrets page. And then once those are done, we'll get to these ones here. And all right, cool. So first question. All right, Anthony, my wife has to take calcium and vitamin D3 supplement. Do you have any recommendations for brand? So with vitamin D3, I recommend first going to full spectrum sunlight, making a conscious effort to get outside more. And the benefits go far beyond just vitamin D. It impacts our mitochondria, our ability to produce ATP and energy. It decreases inflammation. So yes, it helps your body to synthesize more vitamin D, but you also get a wide range of benefits that you don't get if you just take a vitamin D supplement. And there are downsides with supplementation too. Those including but not limited to that we need other nutrient cofactors to absorb the vitamin D. And you don't deal with those same limitations and potential downsides when you get your vitamin D from sunlight. So best source is getting outside, full spectrum sunlight. Miss Sita is zipping back and forth, so if she knocks over the tripod, that's what happened. Number two is a high UVB tanning bed. And so I go to a place in the city here called Ultimate Exposure, and they've got a bed. They've got two different beds that I use. One's called the S Class, and one is the P90. And both are high UVB. UVB is the ultraviolet light that our body uses to synthesize that vitamin D. So if you live in a place like Chicago where there's not a lot of sun exposure in the wintertime, that's option number two. Option number three is supplementation. So for vitamin D, this is one of the products I recommend. It's by Purity Products. It's called Advanced D. It is a little bit more expensive than a lot of the generic vitamin D supplements out there, but it comes with some of those cofactors that help enhance absorption. The other one is a sublingual vitamin D3 that also comes with vitamin K2, and it's by Michael's Naturopathic Programs. There is that one. Anytime you are supplementing with vitamin D, or even when you're not, it is good to get your vitamin D levels checked with a blood test. So all of you guys that are biohacking, you're going to want to get blood tests at a minimum once a year, but ideally once every 6 months, and that should always include a vitamin D test to see where your levels are at. I rarely supplement with calcium. You can include foods that are high in calcium, and even eating some of the smaller non-predatory fish like sardines, etc., where you actually consume some of the bones, can be helpful in getting dietary calcium that way. There's a lot of downsides that can come with calcium supplementation, so I would need to know a little bit more about your wife's situation before I could recommend calcium supplementation, if I would even recommend it. But in the meantime, I would put her on some of the nutritional recommendations I make in the Biohacker's Guide and in the membership site, and have her doing a cup of bone broth daily, ideally bone broth that you guys have made using bones from grass-fed cows. What's up, Nima? How you doing? So yeah, those would be my recommendations. Number one, start with full spectrum sunlight. If that's not available, then go with a high UVB tanning bed. Numbers 3 and 4 are the sublingual supplements, and the Purity Products vitamin D that I recommended. So Advanced D, and again, Michael's Naturopathic Solutions, which is the vitamin D and the K2. Cool. Michael King says, I've been taking HGH to assist with beer belly fat loss. I've noticed my body getting bulkier, but I'm not leading out. I've only been taking this for 2 weeks now. What should I do? Continue taking it, the results will come, or is there something else I should be doing? Is HGH worth my time? So, Michael, I'm not sure what HGH is, if that's, is that actual human growth hormone, or is it one of those like human growth hormone supplements that is marketed as boosting human growth hormone? I'm not sure. There's this trade-off with HGH, and I talked about it a little bit in a video where I pointed out some of the downsides to traditional paleo diets and some of these high-protein ketogenic diets, where when we spend more time in an anabolic, there's an inverse relationship between being anabolic, so in increased protein synthesis, increased muscle mass, and longevity. So the more time we spend in an anabolic state, it is correlated with decreased longevity, and especially as we get older and our body has a lower ability to fight off infections, cancers, etc. Spending artificially inducing an anabolic state can be problematic. You can not just accelerate growth of our own cells, but we can accelerate growth of cancer cells. So if we're just looking at decreasing, belly fat, it would depend on what type of HGH you're taking. Are you taking some of the generic stuff that circulates in the bodybuilding communities that's kind of like, you don't even really know what you're getting? Is this something that was prescribed by a doctor, where if it's some of the prescription HGH like a Pfizer, those come with much lower risks, and at least you know that what you're getting is actually what they say it is. And it depends on your age. So I don't know how old you are here. My take would be this, and again, I have to make a few assumptions to be able to answer your questions. But Michael, I would guess that if you're taking it and gaining weight, it is because you're still calorie neutral or in a calorie surplus. So we'll say energy instead of calorie, just to make things clear. But you're probably consuming too much food, and possibly even the wrong types of food. So I would make sure that that you're waiting until you get hungry to eat. You're eating when you're hungry, and you're stopping when you're about 80% full. And if you want, in the members area, a good way to know your metrics and make sure that you're creating that energy deficit is to go into the members area. In the Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss course, I have something that teaches you how to calculate your lean body mass. So jump in there, calculate your lean body mass, and then make sure, if you're trying to lean out, make sure that you are consuming, at least 6 days a week, you're consuming between 10 and 12 calories per pound of lean body mass. So I would follow the directions in that PDF. It's one of the PDFs in the Biohacking Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss course. And hit those calorie targets. Make sure you're eating the right types of food. You're avoiding all grains, dairy, alcohol, and by creating an energy deficit, your body will start to change. And even if you have the addition of a good quality HGH, you will find yourself leaning out. Now, if you're into the 4th or 5th decade of your life, you want to be aware of the pros and cons of supplemental HGH, and that it's going to boost your IGF-1. It's going to increase your risk of some of these cancers, and you're going to want to be getting regular blood tests at least every 6 months to know where your IGF-1 levels are at, to check your sex hormones, etc., and make sure that you're at least mitigating some of those increased risks while you move towards improved body composition. What's up, Jody? How you doing? So, should you continue taking it? That depends. Is it a good quality HGH? Is it like the most affordable one that I know of is by Pfizer? I would not do anything that isn't prescription, and even if it is prescription, you want to be working with someone who knows what they're doing, has you ordering the right blood tests, and is going over them with you, and making sure that you're good there. A lot of what you're experiencing is probably diet related. So I would get your diet on point. Make sure 6 days a week you're at that energy deficit. I would up your fasted cardio in the mornings. And what's up, Bobby? Up your fasted cardio in the mornings. And when you're doing weight training, make sure that you're keeping your work to rest ratio really high. So at a minimum 4 to 3, where you're lifting for 40 seconds on and resting for 30 seconds, and all of those sets where you're lifting weights, you're pushing yourself to muscle failure or close to. If it's like sets 1 and 2, it's okay not to hit muscle failure, but you want to be working in that 10 to 15 rep range, and then while you're trying to lean out. And then sets 3, 4, 5, you want to be hitting failure, and maybe not even, like if you're setting out to do 10 reps, maybe you're only getting 8 or 9 because you've got your weight where it should be, and 30 seconds is keeping your heart rate really, really high and that intensity there. So it would depend on those things, but yeah, hope that helps. Dial in your nutrition first, and then increase your workouts. Make sure that what you're taking is good. Hope that helps, Michael. Mac. Hi, Anthony. I'm a 27-year-old male, and I've recently had my testosterone levels tested through blood work at my local docs. It came back on the very low side of normal. My result was 9.1, and average is 8 to 30 nanomoles per liter. You were talking about scores of 300 or something, and that being very low. What does 9.1 refer to? I'm from Australia, so maybe the measurements are a little bit different. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just the measurements. So like in Australia, they use nanomolars per liter. In the US, they use nanograms per deciliter. So we're just talking about different measurement criteria. It says, I'm a member of your website and I love it. In your testosterone section, you have an in-depth review of supplements that could be beneficial. I asked my doctor what I could do to elevate my levels, and he said a healthy diet and exercise. I'm 27, 6'3", 95 kilograms with 8% body fat. I don't think a healthier diet or more exercise is my answer. So he says, my goal is to increase libido. I have none. What would you suggest someone my age who wants to increase libido, number one, and then if any positive byproducts work for athleticism, then great. Okay, so that's question number one. And my answer is a little bit counterintuitive, but it's do less. You're probably doing way too much, and you're sending signals to your body that you are in a period of scarcity. Your body fat is too low. I promise you, I don't know how many workouts you're doing a week, but if you decrease your activity levels and take some of the stuff that you're doing that's really high intensity, whether that's like sports, whether that's sprinting, high intensity interval training, really intense weightlifting workouts, anything that's particularly stressful on the central nervous system, so like heavy kettlebell swings, if you dial that back, you make most of your training, like 80% of your training, as I talk about in the Biohackers Guide and on in the membership area, make 80% of your training low intensity. So steady state jogging in your target heart rate zone, where you're wearing a heart rate monitor with a chest strap. So you're 27 years old. For you, that would be 143 to 153 beats per minute. That's where you want to hang out. So like if you wake up in the morning, you do a fasted jog, 20 to 60 minutes between 143 and 153 beats per minute, verified by a heart rate monitor with a chest strap. Hot yoga, but hot yoga where it's not like some of these core power classes where it's like hot yoga mixed with insanity in a really, really hot room. That's going to be too much stress as well. You should almost feel like your workouts are too easy. And by dialing things back that way, essentially we're decreasing the acute stressors you're intentionally putting on yourself through probably fasting, intermittent fasting, 24, 36-hour fasts, caloric restriction to stay lean, your workouts, all of those things. You just have too many stressors on your body. You're sending biological signals that it's not a time for you to be breeding and reproducing and bringing offspring into this world. So you need to send the opposite signals. Eating more, resting more, sleeping more probably, and really dialing back your workouts is going to be the best thing. So there's kind of like these two spectrums of clients, and I either have clients that are doing too little or clients that are doing too much, and you're probably in that too much category. And as much as you may not like the idea of increasing your body fat, I promise you, if you get that up a little bit in the 9, 10, 11 range, you'll find your libido increasing, your energy increasing, and your testosterone going up. So you want to think about some of these signals that you're sending to your body, and how to improve those. So take in more calories, lots of healthy plant-based fats. Make your workouts, intelligently design your workouts so that you're hitting that minimum effective dose, where you're feeling good, but never ever should you be run down after a workout. And allow yourself some more time for rest. Let your body fat increase a little bit, and you will feel better. There's a dichotomy that we know in the fitness modeling and bodybuilding community, and that is when people are on stage and they look their best, that's usually when they feel their worst. So when these guys are standing on stage and they're having pictures taken of them, and they're at 4%, 6%, 8% body fat, whatever, they usually have no or low sex drive. Their energy is in the gutter. They haven't seen a carb in weeks, and they're completely dehydrated. And it's not the way that we are meant to thrive. So if you want your libido up, doing those things is going to be key. And then there are supplements that can help. But before I recommend supplements, I would say get your sex hormones tested. I'd like to see like your estrogen, your testosterone estrogen ratio, and some of those things. You want to know, is your estrogen too high? Is your where your DHT levels at for people that have some of these issues. Sometimes the right types of creatine, like Concret creatine, which is creatine HCl, creatine monohydrate. The two brands that I use are Concret creatine and Jarrow creatine. It's Creapure. It's like a pharmaceutical grade creatine monohydrate. Those can boost libido, as can some other supplements. Like if high estrogen is contributing to this, then you're going to want to take some stuff to help your body metabolize estrogen, like DIM or Life Extension, DNA protection formula, like calcium D-glutarate. But again, we'd have to look at some of these other things and get your blood work done. So hope that helps. And then second question, in a recent podcast with Ben Greenfield, he explored another device similar to the Oura Ring. Okay, so I looked at this one. It's called the Whoop, W-H-O-O-P, and their website, for any of you guys that want to check it out, is whoop.com. He said, how do you think the ring versus a wrist device compares in accuracy? I'm looking for the HRV scores and accuracy across the board. I used to check heart rate variability quite regularly. I use it a lot less now. And more so go by, how do you feel in the morning? Are you waking up, if you're a guy, are you waking up with morning wood? And using some of those metrics. I haven't experimented with Whoop. I have the Oura Ring, as you know, and I love the Oura Ring. I use it almost entirely for sleep tracking and to make sure that my deep and REM sleep is close to full, and I check my sleep score in the morning. So I found that to be the greatest benefit of the Oura Ring. I don't use it so much for activity tracking. I did years with the Fitbit Charge HR and the Jawbones, and those were all right, but I didn't see as much of a connection for me personally between hitting 10,000, 20,000 steps a day and feeling that amazing. Whereas if I just got up and did some jogging, steady state cardio, especially outside, some yoga for anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes, I found that had a much bigger impact on how I felt throughout the day and overall energy and mental clarity. So I wish I could answer on the Whoop. I would have to test it and experiment it with myself. Otherwise, I'm just speculating. So yeah, hope that helps. And then, how do you find wearing the Oura Ring for Olympic lifting and general CrossFit style workouts? I take it off a lot for that type of stuff. I'll still use it if I'm going to be doing limited pull-ups and chins and things like that. But usually, like, the battery only lasts 2 or 3 days, so you got to take it off and charge it, especially for the purposes that I use it for, which is like sleep tracking. So if I'm going to be doing a workout that requires a lot of grip work, sometimes I take it off, but I haven't found it to interfere a whole lot. And yeah, again, I use mine almost entirely for sleep tracking. So hope that helps. Mac, what up, Adam? How you doing? Good timing. We're on your question. So Adam says, what are some of the ways to cleanse from parasites? Okay, so parasites can be complicated. It can be somewhat easy to get rid of, and it can be really difficult to get rid of. Where I have most people start out would be, it's a multifaceted approach. Number one, you're going to want to get a soda silver pulsar. I'll show you guys one of those, kind of how that works. So this is a soda silver pulsar, and it's a little device like this that comes with these 2 electrodes, and what they do is this device uses an electric current. It connects to your radial and ulnar arteries, and that current functions to clean the blood of viruses, bacteria, mold, fungi, and even parasites. And so what you want to do, this is one of the most beneficial and versatile devices that you can use with parasites and or any other infections. You'll also find that, like, just keeping it around is a great way to stay healthy and avoid the common cold. So with the silver pulsar, you can get that on soda.com. What you do, the protocol is, for the first week, you wear it for a half an hour every other day. And then for the second week, you wear it for a half an hour every day. And then for the third week, you wear it for an hour every day. And then the fourth week and thereafter, that's when the work really starts. You're wearing it as much as you can. So some people sleep with it. If you find it doesn't disturb your sleep, that is an option. Or you can wear it as much as possible during the day. And you want to do that for a period of 60 days. And that period is really where you're cleaning the blood. And it helps to, again, address parasites. But you don't want to just use the silver pulsar. You want to use a few other interventions as well. So the silver pulsar, what's cool about it too, is it comes with this other attachment. And this can be used, so you'll see this other attachment here with these silver rods. This can be used to make homemade colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is a natural antibiotic. And so what you would do is you would just change out the wrist attachment for the attachment to make colloidal silver, and you get some distilled water, put it in like a big glass jar, and you drop these into the jar, and you let it run for about 3 to 4 hours, and then that makes homemade colloidal silver. And then you want to drink about a cup of that colloidal silver a day. Now you can start with much, much less and slowly work up to it, depending on your current state of health, how well you detoxify, and how many other infections you may be dealing with. But the silver pulsar is, without a doubt, the #1 tool and biohack that can be helpful with parasites. If you have the budget, combine that with the water ozonator from Soda. And what that does is, so you guys know, like, oxygen in our air is O2. That's the molecular composition of oxygen. Well, what ozone is it's O3. And the way that a water ozonator works is you would take like a glass jar. Let's see. I could bring the camera over there, but it'll be easier just to describe because I'm a one-man show right now. So you have a glass jar, or pitcher rather, and then you fill that with any type of water, any type of clean water. And you drop the ozonator attachment in there and you run it for, say, 60 minutes in the morning. And that is producing O3. So it's filling the water and charging up the water with O3. Now, when O3 dismutates, it breaks apart in the body. You have oxygen and you have a single, you have O2 and you have a single oxygen molecule. That single oxygen molecule is reactive, and it can kill bacteria, viruses, parasites. So you have this these two benefits taking place. The ozone from the water enters your body. It helps to oxygenate your tissues. So as you probably know, a lot of these parasites are anaerobic, which means they thrive in low oxygen environments. So by increasing oxygenation of your tissues, it makes it a less hospitable environment for them. And the single oxygen molecule goes and it helps to kill bacteria and viruses and parasites. So that's how the ozonator works, and those two are a great 1-2 punch if you have the budget for those tools. Starting out, if to combine with that, I would follow the nutritional recommendations in the Biohacker's Guide and what's in the Rapid and Sustainable Fat Loss program here on the membership site. And I would I would do at least 3 months of the Hulda Clark Parasite Protocol, HULDA, Clark, and that's a combination of cloves, wormwood, and black walnut. And she gives you the specific dosages and recommendations for that. And you're going to need to get a few of those to do it for at least 90 days. Many times people do like one round, and it's just not enough, especially if it's a parasitic infection that's been around for years or decades. The other thing is, I put it here somewhere, ivermectin. Ivermectin is an anti-parasitic prescription that can be really helpful. You can get it in many other countries. It can be harder to get in the US. They use it a lot with livestock like horses and cattle. And this is what the livestock and cattle version looks like. Now, I'm not telling you guys to do this, and disclaimer, do your own research. It is your health, but I want to make sure that I'm letting you guys know what's out there and what's available, because ivermectin can be very beneficial, but also difficult to get a hold of. So on like Farm and Fleet and some of those sites, you can get the Ivercare. This tube, which treats a 1,500-pound horse, is about $5, and you can get 3 to 4 tubes of that. The same dosage is used for humans. You just have to adjust for your weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then you would only administer 200 pounds worth rather than the full 1,500-pound horse. And that is the first phase of treating parasites that I would recommend. You can add in hyperthermic conditioning like biohacker baths, which are water as hot as you can tolerate, 2 cups Epsom salt, 1 cup baking soda, 1 cup 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide. You can use dry saunas, infrared saunas. That heat also creates an inhospitable environment for the parasites. It has a hermetic effect on the body where it increases our resilience and makes it improves our own immune system's ability to fight off these parasites. Really, with all of the interventions, what we're trying to do is get our bodies to a position where they can take over and do what they're best at. And the problem is just that sometimes these infections run us down and make it so that we're too toxic, or we have too many demands on our body. So we need to detoxify and get the infection down a little bit so that our body can take over. So that would be the first phase that I would recommend for addressing parasites. And again, just to recap, soda, silver pulsar, doing the full protocol, working up to where you can wear it all the time, either at night or during the day, and then doing that for a full 60 days. If you find that kicks your butt, like if you're having Herxheimer reactions, you may need to integrate some other detoxification strategies. Make sure you're drinking 70% of your current body weight in ounces of water. So like a 200-pound man should be drinking 140 ounces of clean fluoride-free water every day to help with detoxification. Some people utilize coffee enemas to boost liver function and the body's antioxidant levels. So that's an option too. And then with the silver pulsar, you also want to be making colloidal silver and consuming up to a cup a day. But again, with all these things, you probably need to increase your levels slowly and make sure that you're feeling good, not running yourself into the ground. Number 2 would be the soda water ozonator. If you have the budget, that will help a lot. Drinking at least 1 or 2 12-ounce glasses a day, but I have clients that work their way up to doing anywhere from 64 ounces to more per day, and that really depends on where you're at, and allowing feeling good to be your guiding barometer in all of this. And then you have the Hulda Clark herbal parasite protocol, 3 months of that. So that's your cloves, your wormwood, and your black walnut. You can get that. I think her website is drclarkstore.com. I recommend just getting the capsules rather than the option that has the capsules and the liquid. And again, make sure you do that for 3 months. And it's basically like 18 days on, 2 days off, 18 days on, 2 days off, and continue that. And then number 4 is the, this is optional, again, do your own research, disclaimer, etc. Ivermectin. And you can get that on Farm and Fleet. And that is where I would start. And then for clients that have much more difficult cases, then we integrate other antiparasitic medications and other interventions depending on where they're at. But what I just mentioned is usually where I start them off at. And then building up your resilience through hyperthermic conditioning, the biohacker baths, the saunas, cold exposure, cold thermogenesis, ice baths, connecting with the earth and natural bodies of water, all that good stuff. So, hope that helps. Next question. I've used a supplement to be regular, and I'm almost out. Would love to be regular without a pill. Any advice? So that's from Sonia. Sonia, so we want to figure out why you're not regular, because there's a lot of things that can contribute to that. The first that I see most often is consumption of grains, and those grains for many people can damage the nerves in our gut and slow down our ability to eliminate, to take a dump. And so they call that compromised intestinal peristalsis, which is the nerd speak for it. But basically, when you consume grains, it damages these nerves. They don't function as well, and we don't get rid of wastes the way that we should. So we want to, as with anything we do, we want to get to the root cause of why you're blocked up. Number 2 would be that it's not enough fiber. So I would use an app like Chronometer or Lose It Plus, Fat Secret, MyFitnessPal. Any of those work, but you want to track your fiber. Even Easy Fiber Tracker, and make sure that you are getting at least 35 grams of fiber per day. I would guess that you're probably much lower than that, and increasing your fiber intake, ensuring that it is over 35 grams per day will help. Drinking plenty of water, again, 70% of your current body weight in ounces of water away from meals. So now that's 1, 2, 3. You've got avoiding grains 100%. You've got increasing your fiber. You've got 70% of your current body weight in ounces of water per day away from meals. Make sure that's clean water. And then there are other things that can help. But I would see how far you get with those. Then, depending on the client and what else what other moving pieces are involved, what other health issues, we want to look at. Is there small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? Is Candida? Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is basically like the small intestine is supposed to be a sterile environment, but sometimes bacteria gets in there and populates it, and that can cause a whole host of digestive issues, including constipation. Candida is a yeast that can be very problematic and cause constipation. And then there's other diseases of the gut. Low dose naltrexone is a prescription that some clients use, and that can help to improve intestinal motility. So that same elimination process that gets compromised when we're consuming grains and foods that cause inflammation and leaky gut. Low dose naltrexone can help with that. Then there's other things like Cascara sagrada. Caffeine is number 1, like the compound that really helps people get things moving. The problem is that a lot of people that are dealing with constipation are also dealing with other infections and health issues where maybe their magnesium levels are low, and they're susceptible to increased stress. So then you take someone in that position with magnesium deficiency, increased susceptibility to stress. Maybe their B vitamin levels are also suboptimal, and then you add caffeine, and that person's going to feel terrible. They're going to get jittery. They're going to feel like they're having panic attacks, anxious. So you don't want to, if you know you're sensitive to caffeine, you don't want to utilize that intervention until you've taken care of other vitamin deficiencies. You're taking steps to manage your stress, like meditation. You're exercising daily. And again, if you're deficient in B vitamins, magnesium, if you have any genetic variations like MTHFR, you've taken steps to fix those things. So I know it's a lot of moving pieces. Hope that helps. Those are some of the things that I look for with clients that are dealing with constipation. So start with no longer putting gas on the fire. Eliminate the dietary toxins: grains, dairy, alcohol, sugar processed foods, genetically modified foods and their derivatives, the most common being corn, soy, canola oil. Then you get your fiber up to above 35 grams, track it, what gets measured gets managed. Number 3, you get at least 70 ounces of clean water per day. If you're doing those things, you should start getting some pretty good traction. Then you can, after that, you could look into other supplements, treatment interventions. The soda water ozonator can help. The like Cascara Sagrada, even getting your stomach acid back to healthy levels if it's deficient can get things moving in the right direction, and caffeine and some of the other supplements. But get your foundation right first. Hope that helps. Okay. Jamie says, Jamie asked about parasites. So I kind of addressed that in the previous question. That's where I would start. And then if you do that 90-day protocol, and you're still dealing with some of the symptoms, then we can do another Q&A, and I'll give you guys a more built-out protocol that involves some of the anti-parasitic medications and some of those things that we do if we get to that bridge. Cool. So Max says, you're an advocate of exercising first thing in the morning in a fasted state. You're also a fan of ProLab's advanced caffeine. My question is, even though our cortisol levels are naturally high first thing in the morning, do you think that caffeine will have an effect? Also, is this your pre-workout go-to supplement? So, yes, some mornings I take ProLab advanced caffeine. Kind of depends on how I'm feeling, how I slept the night before, if I'm trying to lean out. And yeah, I like exercising in the morning in a fasted state, but again, it's in the context of what else you're doing, how many other stressors of choice and stressors just of lifestyle and health status you're dealing with. So you can look at, like, we all are constantly dealing with stressors that we choose. Maybe like I'm in the middle of a 3-day fast right now. That's a stressor of choice. And so because I'm fasting, I'm going to want to be conscientious to do workouts that are much less intense. Whereas if I wasn't fasting, I could go and I could choose a more intense workout program. And so with those morning fasted workouts, it depends on what you're doing. It depends on what your nutrition is like. And Mac, we were talking before about your testosterone. My instinct is that you're doing way too much. And by decreasing the intensity of 80% of your workouts, making that focus on slow, steady state cardio, where you feel better after the workout than you did beforehand, you can still make 20% of your training strength training, high intensity intervals, some of that stuff where you're really pushing yourself to failure, as long as it doesn't exceed your body's ability to recover. So yeah, I mean, I adjust what I'm doing based on how I'm feeling. And like this morning, I had a bunch of work to do, so I just jumped on the rebounder for 20 minutes. I've got, I'll show you guys some stuff here. So like this morning, I just jumped on the rebounder for 20 minutes while I listened to an audiobook. I've got those like 3 12-pound Valio medicine balls. I use those now for, I'm working on something fun that involves doing push-ups with your feet on one of those and then your hands on the other two. I'll share that with you guys in a little bit. I just started, so I got some building up to do. I've got, what else did I do this morning? I've got this steel mace, if you guys could see. So I was doing some grip work and some core work with that. And then over here, it's gonna be hard, but if you guys can see the there on the pull-up bar, I've got those cannonball grips, which also allow for doing pull-ups and increasing your forearm strength and grip work. Because as you guys probably know, when you're doing deadlifts and some of that strength work, it's usually our grip that is trying to get this stand back. It's usually our grip that's the first thing to go. It's not that our back and legs and arms can't lift more. It's that we can't hold on to the bar. So that's why I've been making a point to incorporate more grip strength into what I'm doing, and just with like jiu-jitsu and MMA, being able to grab the other guy and get wrist control is important. And if your grip's weak, the guy just able to slide out. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but having some camera issues. All right, cool. So yeah, Mac, my best advice to you would be slow down, do less, work to a point where you're waking up with morning wood, you're feeling good. You will probably feel like, I'm guessing you're a type A type dude, and you'll feel like you're not doing enough. That's okay. It means you're on the right track. Chill out a little bit more, meditate more, and let yourself eat more. Start sending signals to your body that you are in a time of abundance, and it is a good environment to bring another generation into this world, and your testosterone will increase, and you'll just feel better overall. Your sex drive, libido, everything. So that was one of the big things that I had an issue with for a long time. Was I was just working out like a maniac, and yeah, like it ended up running me into the ground. So hope that helps. And then if you guys have any other questions, you can add them in the comments section here. Because I think this is the last one. Michael says, Anthony, I'm turning 39 this year, and I feel like I'm getting into the best shape of my life. However, I have an inflamed bursa in my shoulder that prevents me from doing certain weight exercises. I've tried turmeric, HGH, etc. I've also quit doing exercises that stress that area, but it just seems to never go away. What can I do? All right, Michael. So again, I would make your priority. I would make sure that what you're eating is, I think that you're probably consuming foods that are inflammatory. And the main ones, which I repeat a lot, grains, dairy, alcohol, sugar processed foods, and sugar and processed foods, and then genetically modified foods and their derivatives. I would look at your diet and see where you're consuming those. Now, if you've cut that stuff out, then also look at some of the lesser known ones, like egg sensitivities are common, nut allergies are common. Doing too much grass-fed beef is an issue for a lot of people. So I would go with the 28-day program that I outlined in the membership site. Follow that to a T for 30 days. Make no exceptions. Don't go out. You don't have the cheat day thing going on, and let's see how your body responds to 30 days, 28 days of clean eating. Then some other things that can help. Cold thermogenesis is amazing. Getting some of those ice baths going to drive down inflammation. There are peptides that are mentioned in the podcast episode of the Biohacking Secrets show that I do with Ben Greenfield. BPC 157 and TB 500. Both of those peptides are they're subcutaneous injections that can help a lot with joint health and inflammation. Those really accelerated my recovery when I had a torn pec. I used both. I think BPC 157 probably had the biggest impact for me, but that may have been because I used it first. And in that podcast episode, we talk about where you can get those and how to use them. Ben Greenfield also has some stuff on his website where he goes into like how to reconstitute them and stuff. And again, those peptides, it's just an amino acid sequence. It's nothing illegal or anything like that. I believe TB500, if you're competing in like certain sanctioned sports, can be considered performance enhancing, but look into that if that pertains to you. Most of us, it doesn't. So using compression and ice or ice baths is huge. So like when you submerge yourself in an ice bath, you're getting the compression from the water and the cold temperature. 12-minute ice baths, doing that daily, and ice and heat are your friends. So biohacker baths as well. Water as hot as you can tolerate. 2 cups Epsom salt, 1 cup baking soda, 1 cup 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide, all of which you can get on Amazon. And of course, making sure the affected area is submerged is really important. And then there's devices like the Mark Pro Plus. I've used that a good amount for injuries and like healing certain areas. Transdermal magnesium. I'll show you guys some of these things. Maybe that will. Well, maybe I should get them and bring them to the camera, right? Rather than dragging the tripod around everywhere. So the Mark Pro Plus. This is the case. I believe I talk about this in the book, but it uses these electrodes, and this is used by a lot of like NFL and NBA teams, NHL teams as well. And you put it on the affected area, and it runs different programs to help improve lymphatic drainage, bring your body's attention to the area, and increase healing. And then transdermal magnesium. I'll grab you. I'll show you the one what that looks like too. So this Ancient Minerals is the transdermal magnesium. This one also has MSM, and that can be really helpful when applied topically. But what I would hit very hard would be 28-day nutrition program. Goes super clean, no exceptions, because I think you're still consuming foods that your body's not liking. And then ice and heat, I would be doing at least one of those daily, and if you could do both in a day, that will help. And then you have some of the other things we discussed, like the peptides, BPC 157, TB 500, the Mark Pro Plus, the transdermal magnesium, massage, like iRosti, AIRROSTI. If there's any iRosti practitioners in your area, that can help a lot. Possibly even acupuncture, but those would be some of the things that I would work through, with the focus being on nutrition, ice, and cold thermogenesis, and heat, hyperthermic conditioning. So, Michael, hope that helps. And then we'll see if we got any other questions here. Doesn't look like any. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this video, I'll upload it to the membership site, so any of you guys that couldn't make it on and hang out will be able to review that. And then what I'm going to do is in the Biohacking Secrets page, I'll put a status update where you guys can add your questions for the next Q&A in the comment section, and anything you'd like me to elaborate on or ask about for the next Q&A, you can put in there. And yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out, and other stuff that you guys would like in the membership site too, let me know, and we'll get it added for you. So we're kind of all creating this together, and if there's information that you would like that is not currently in there, just give me a shout here on the Biohacking Secrets private page, and I will get it done for you. So thanks a lot, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.